All right, so here we are, back once live again on our right angle cross of the Sphinx. I love the Sphinx, very nice. So we start with the 1-3. The first line is always about authority, and it's about authority that has to be established through a strong foundation. And yet we're dealing with the youngest of forces. There's no secure foundation. The first thing that the first gate recognizes, because it's about direction, is that it sees right away what the person's purpose is instantaneously. A first line personality swings come out of the wolf and says, "Oh no, I know where this is all going. It's going right down the drain. And you want me to enjoy this? Not only, but the third line underneath says, oh, and not only are we going to down the drain, but it's going to messy all the way. We're going to screw it up and it's not going to work. And I shall have all this wonderful primal creativity inside of me and no place to put." The thing I find so interesting about, because I know many of them, I know a lot of the first hexagram fixes, and they really get off on the building things. It's like, let me be a two. Let me go over there on the earth side. Okay, let me just be a two. I can build something. Maybe it's just longer than me. And you see all these first hexagram switches. You have no idea where the hell to go. It's the most interesting thing about the first hexagram fiction. They're so good at guiding others. They're really good at saying there's a direction for you. There's a direction for you, and most of them are very lost. And the way we get the security for the first line foundation is they get into building things. I'm just going to record something. This becomes a substitute, and it becomes a very way to escape the dilemma of their personality. The beauty of the third line here is evident that there's more than just about anywhere else. That is where the third line learns in the life process, is that the creative capacity ameliorates so many of the problems. In other words, the 1-3 swings moving along in this direction where this is going to be dilemma and problems. But there's a creative potential to rise up out of this typical third line, full down businesses, but rise up stronger and rise up with a creative possibility. In other words, in the same way that the first hexagram tries to escape the terminology of its losses, it's the very process itself that really releases its creativity potential. But to get to that place where it accepts the process, that is a very, very difficult for the first hexagram, because it's a purely energy. Energy in and of itself seems eternal, from appears to decay. And as a sphinx, the moment that you deny someone direction, you're represented. It's the greatest dilemma for sphinxes, and it doesn't matter what configuration you have. Everybody knows you're a sphinx, whether you know it or not. There's something that is inherent in the way in which your aura is felt that leads you to assume that you can give them direction or some kind of another. In some core of the one, it's not simply that it's because all yang, it doesn't understand decay because it's all yang. It recognizes the potential of never dying. If you're looking for immortality, immortality lies within that first hexagram, the potential of immortality. So when I talk about it, how hard it is for the first to surrender to creation, being the beginning of a dying process, you have to see that inherent in the one is the yeah, but it's not necessary. This is what drives the medicine and drives the therapies and drives so many things in which we're trying to maintain the longevity. It's also essential. If we didn't have this yang force, this yang mutative force, we wouldn't live long enough as a species to eventually develop a level of consciousness we need. So everything is a binary. In the same way, the yang, by refusing to surrender to death, pursues those kinds of things that lengthen our life and all of this stuff all the same time. When you get to the end of their lives and not self, they're the ones who suffer the most. They're the ones who are so distraught by the process of coming to an end. When I first began looking at design, and I knew many sphinxes in my tribal life here, I realized that they were very much unaware of the fact that they were providing direction to people, because it wasn't done in a formal sense. It was never somebody coming up to them saying, "Can you tell me which way to go?" It was always people being with them and hearing them say something that became their way to go. And the sphinxes in and of themselves rarely recognize their power. And the sphinxes that the least recognize their power are the first hexagram. They just don't. They're so absorbed in their own dilemma, they're very, very much caught in the fact that they have this deep creative urge within them. And there are all these limitations around, which are the limitations of the body after all. Most cases for the Sphinx, that's why the Sphinx is great out authority, their inner authority, it's so frustrating for them, because the moment that you hand over the control of their body, their creativity is not only limited, but it's channeled, and it's channeled into the body process, not into what the personality thinks that can do. No matter how much Stephen Hawking wants to dance, it's not going to happen. It doesn't matter how much the personality consciousness is creative and can see itself dancing in its consciousness, and it can be wonderful choreography in its consciousness to integrate that into the body in another story. Your body has to be willing. What you get to see, what swings is in this outer power. So what they think they are as a force, what they think they are as a primal creative force. And when they talk to you out of the outer authority and they say, "I've been there and that was really terrific and I loved it," bang, you're gone. There's an enormous power in that on the outside. Then we go to the 1-4. Everything about the 1-4 is to recognize its fixedness, and yet at the same time to see that in many ways in mutation the 1-4 is much more significant than the 4-1 juxtaposition. That is the unconscious ultimately can be influential, the form itself. And this is one of those places where I can see the advantage of its form, that the form in a way can be a creativity itself. The relationship between the 1 and the 8 is the relationship of the artist, the 1 with the gallery owner, the 8. And there's something about the searching of immortality through creativity that's so much a part of this one process. With the 1-4, the potential always lives in the form. The form itself may be the way to express the creativity, because the 4 being transpersonal is going to be able to influence others with that creative feeling. So good luck with the creativity, because that's what it's all about.